Well, it's Friday the 22nd of March. We've just passed the equinox, lit by a wonderful new moon, and the sun has slid into Aries. The weather is still choppy for 2019, but for the next month we should be acting on the character tables we rolled last year. This is episode 1902 of 301 Permanently Moved, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded, and edited in 1 hour by me, at the J-Man. Just before Christmas last year, I tweeted somewhat rhetorically, why doesn't Monica Gagliano have a Wikipedia page? And she still doesn't. Answers, of course, on a postcard, and send it anywhere. I don't have a high opinion of Wikipedia editors at the best of times, partly from personal experience following run-ins of various kinds, but the mod community is full of insufferable smugness and self-importance. This is before we even bring up the more widely known institutional sexism and extremist culture of scientism. Indeed, there is a strong current of critique from Brazilian scholars about Wikipedia at the moment as a colonial platform and as an agent of cultural homogeneity, mainly seen through the lens of the revert wars around spiritismo and indigenous knowledge that is taking place on major Brazilian Wikipedia pages. Why do I bring this up? Because earlier this year, from a paradise beach in Bali, I wrote the following Goodreads review under Monica Gagliano's newest book, Thus Spoke the Plant, a remarkable journey of groundbreaking scientific discoveries and personal encounters with plants, published by Penguin Random House late last year. I wrote, "This is the most important book I've read this century." The book is quite possibly one of the best post-Enlightenment books written by a scientist. I've been telling basically everyone to read the book since. Monica Gagliano is an evolutionary ecologist who I believe will at some point this century probably win a Nobel Prize for her groundbreaking work in plant behavior and cognition. She has demonstrated the existence of memory in plants, that environmental factors teach plants to learn faster and forget slower, and that some plants pass the test for respondent conditioning in a very similar sense to Pavlov's dogs. She is also a pioneer in the world of plant bioacoustics, proving that plant roots use sound to locate water, and the list of her achievements goes on, and I hope continues on. This is all very well, I can hear you say, but why exactly is this the best book you have read as an adult? Well, we all know that the 21st century is already shaping up to be the century of biology, just as the 20th century was physics and the 19th chemistry. Firstly, the fields that Gagliano is pioneering do not treat plants as objects, instead as other beings with agency and their own lifeways. As Gordon White mentioned in the Rune Soup interview with her earlier this week, science has a mechanical view of the universe which causes us to invent the plant in our heads first, then confuse that mental picture for the actual plant. Coming from an animal behaviour background, Gagliano seems to solve the problem of correspondence. In his essay, A Phenomenology with the Natural World, 2014, Tim Ingold wrote the following, quote, "The problem in our relationships with the natural world is that we have forgotten how to correspond with the beings and the things of which it is being comprised. We've been so concerned with the interaction between ourselves and others that we have failed to notice how both we and they go along together in the current of time." End quote. The plant is a plant doing its plant thing at all times. A plant as a verb. Similar to the sign in Bedknobs and Broomsticks when the cartoon animals say, "No humaning allowed." To human is a verb. Gagliano encourages us to rethink plants as people beings with subjectivity, consciousness, and volition, and hence having the capacity for their own perspectives and voices. Ingold says that if an interaction is about othering, then correspondence is about togethering. And it is perhaps this concept of togethering that brings me to the other element of the book, its most important, her personal journey. The book itself is a phytobiography, a collection of stories written in partnership with plants. Gagliano is one of the others in a Leary sense. In the book, she bravely documents her up-close and personal encounters with the plants themselves, as well as with plant shamans, indigenous elders, and mystics from all around the world, and tells this story alongside her research journey. To give you a flavour, at one point she is in the jungle performing a dieta with the bark of a tree whose spirit is associated with headlessness. And as a result of the ritual, the spirit of the tree told her exactly how to construct and design an experiment and told her to use pea plants instead of sunflowers. There are many more stories in this book like this, from psychedelic visions helping her solve difficult life puzzles, to another plant showing exactly how plants and animals breathe one another into existence. But to return to my Wikipedia rant for a moment, it never ceases to amaze me that when shamans tell people that it was tobacco that told them how to mix ayahuasca, this is not considered a valid or acceptable explanation. Thus Spoke the Plant is a fantastic book. I cannot recommend it enough. It's probably one of the most important books that you should read this year, period.